All right, good morning. Welcome in to the Out of Bounds Show. ESPN 105.9 The Zone. We got a couple of special guests in studio. Tell you about an amazing mission and cause and fundraising event that is coming up here this week. And we're excited to welcome in Gary Watts, CEO of Fuse Cloud. And he is one of the benefactors and ringleaders of this event. And Gary, good morning. Welcome into the show. And tell us about this covered music event that you and others have started and that has taken off at the Clyde Muse Center.
Hey, Bo, thanks for having me. About 10 or 11 years ago, we started this event that kind of brings musicians, the community, and good causes together, and we call it covered music. And so it's just a way to have an evening where people that are my age can go out and enjoy some really good music without having to start at 9 o'clock at night and getting through it at midnight, you know.
It's right up my alley.
Yeah. So, we saw that there was a demand for that kind of thing. So I think people would be surprised to see how many good musicians we have in the Central Mississippi area. It's just unbelievable. And many of those have come together and have recognized that this is a good place for them to play and also help a good cause and have a good time. So this is going to be about our 26th show.
Wow.
We've been doing it twice a year for that long. And so we pick a cause in the area and we raise some awareness and some money for that cause.
Gary Watts on the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, covered music event. And so it's two shows, and how many acts do you have roughly?
Well, we roughly do about 20 songs.
Okay.
And so it's one core band, and then we have vocalists come in pretty much to do the songs. But I think the great thing about it is, Bono once said, music can change the world because it can change people.
It's true.
And I believe that. And so what we try and do is we pick songs that people are going to recognize. They're going to be able to sing along to.
Right. It's
going to be a sentimental thought. I had a guy come up to me one time and he said, hey, I remember exactly where I was the first time I saw that song. It was on a first date with my wife. And so it means a lot to them. And that's what's allowed it to grow. And, we're going to do Wednesday and Thursday night at the Clyde Muse Center. The doors open at 6. The show starts at 7. We already got a pretty much full house both nights, so we're excited about that. But we have a full balcony that we can fill.
Okay.
So what I'd like for people to consider is if they come and mention, hey, I heard about this on the Bo Bounds Show, we'll let them in free. They can go up to the balcony, have a great night, listen about a great cause, and hear some phenomenal music.
Okay. All right. So if you hear about it on the Out of Bounds Show, they've got a balcony. Gary and the team, Wesley, let you in free and enjoy either Wednesday or Thursday night this week, which is February
5th and 6th.
5th and 6th. Gary Watts, CEO of Fuse Cloud, joining us on the Out of Bounds Show and telling us about the covered music event. And now thank you, Gary. I appreciate it. We'll find out more about who they're raising money for. And we want to welcome in Wesley Mockbee. Did I say that right, Wesley?
You did, yes.
Yes. Wesley Mockbee joining us on the Out of Bounds Show. Was an attorney and now full-time fundraiser. And go ahead and get right there. So, Wesley, tell us about, first of all, this is an awesome event, but it's supporting Little Lighthouse. And tell our listeners about why this is an awesome organization and cause and mission.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me on this morning.
Appreciate you coming in, man.
And so Little Lighthouse is a early developmental center for kids with special needs. But what's neat for me this week as we think about the covered music event is I first heard about Little Lighthouse because I attended a covered event some 6 years ago. Gary Watts and I go way back. He invited me and my wife to attend. I didn't know that Little Lighthouse was going to be, highlighted that night. Didn't know what Little Lighthouse was all about. And so we go to this music event, hear about this great cause, see some of the beautiful kids that attend Little Lighthouse. and was moved like I expect most people are when they hear about or see what Little Lighthouse does.
Sure.
Well, as life happens, a year and a half after attending this event, my wife and I found out that our daughter was going to have a really rare genetic condition. She was going to need a place like Little Lighthouse. Because we had been to this music event, we knew to reach out to these folks. And, hey, they might be able to help us as we try to navigate this life with the child with special needs.
Right.
Because, look, I'm from Jackson, but you don't know where to go.
No.
And so we did that. And so we got on the wait list at Little Lighthouse, and we got in. Yeah. And now our daughter attends Little Lighthouse.
Unbelievable. That's awesome.
And so I can tell you firsthand the impact that Little Lighthouse can have on kids and their families. And again, Little Lighthouse it's an early developmental center for kids with special needs, and it's the young kids. We bring them in birth to 6.
Okay.
And we're heavy on early intervention. We have therapists on staff, OT, speech, PT, all on staff. We have the behavioral therapist on contract. They work with our teachers. And so we just pour into these kids in a real way while they're young.
Right.
While there are not a lot of other options for folks to do that.
Sure.
And look, we do this tuition free. We are offering first-class developmental services.
It's incredible.
For kids and families at no cost to the families. Because at Little Lighthouse, we know how hard these parents, these families work to provide services for their kids, be it outside therapies or other things. You're fighting everywhere you go. So at Little Lighthouse, we say we want to come alongside of you and your child and your family, and we're going to do that. We're going to cover the cost.
So you have a special needs child. Gary Watts introduces you to Covered Music Event. Then full circle, you're an attorney, and you and your wife find a place that works, and it's tuition free for all these kids. And then you go full time you leave the law practice. You go full time with Little Lighthouse a year and a half ago.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
And now you're heading up their fundraising campaign, right, Wesley?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So walk us through that.
I'd love to, absolutely. Yeah. So our daughter, she did the first 12, 18 months of life was hard. And, she had a feeding tube, oxygen, all the doctor's appointments. She spends weeks in the hospital, that whole kind of medical need struggle. And so in that time, it's survival for our family. Right, we have she has two older brothers, and so there's just a lot going on. And so we're focusing all in on that.
Sure.
And my wife and I both, during this season, were like, let's not get through this and then get back to normal life. Like we don't now have an appreciation for a whole world that we didn't have an appreciation for before.
Sure.
So once she gets into Little Lighthouse, and look, she is doing it awesome now. She's walking, she's talking, she's eating and drinking by mouth. I mean, there's like real development for our daughter.
Right.
So when she gets into Little Lighthouse and now some time opens up for our family, we say, hey, how do we want to use some of these experiences we've had now? And so Little Lighthouse is obviously a place we care about because they were helping our daughter. And so I'm helping them. And at that time, Little Lighthouse had a wait list of 40 kids. When our daughter got on there, 40 kids in the program, they had 40 on the wait list. Okay. Bo, today it's 165 kids on the wait list.
Unbelievable.
Folks are hearing about what happens here.
Right.
And there are a lot of kids in the metro area and beyond.
That need the
That's right.
services.
Folks are driving an hour and a half each way to participate in our program.
They could be in Meridian.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. And so as Little Lighthouse, as we saw this need, as folks hear about us and want to participate, look, we got to have more space. And so I was taking some meetings with Little Lighthouse as I was still trying to practice law for like current space or buildings. You look at old schools or something. Hey, where could we move into to expand this program?
Right.
And we learned quickly that was, I couldn't do the law thing and fully invest in Little Lighthouse like we really wanted to.
Okay.
So I came on Little Lighthouse the summer of 2023 to help them, big picture, find more space.
And raise money.
And raise money. Yeah, and you got to raise money to move into that space. So what we've done since then, since I've been a part of that school, we looked at a lot of existing space. And because of our kids' unique needs, like we can't use second floors of buildings. Like our kids just can't use that. So you'd have to retrofit a lot of the existing space we saw. So what we and the board decided to do was, hey, we want to go all in and invest in these kids. We believe that God created these kids intentionally as they are, and that we want to show them that as a program. So we have bought 9.5 acres of property off the Bozeman Road Reunion Parkway intersection.
Wow.
There in Madison County. And we closed on that in November of last year and paid cash for that. And then we intend to build a new school, a new facility that is going to allow us to serve 140 plus kids when we go full time.
Wow.
And that's going to be tuition free too. And so we talk about this covered music event. Like, we can't do this. We can't meet this need and this, exceed these plans without the public's participation. Like, we require private donations.
Absolutely.
As a Christian organization, we don't take state or government funding. We have to ensure that we can preach in the classrooms to these kids and their families. And so it's private funds. We rely on third-party fundraisers like Covered. And Covered is one of the biggest, most effective ones we have. It's near and dear to my heart.
Sure.
Because that's where I first heard about Little Lighthouse. But it is a critical part of introducing our ministry and our kids. And our kids will be at the event. So if you can come out Wednesday or Thursday night, you will see some Little Lighthouse students. You will see some alumni. You get to see these beautiful kids and where they are in life now because of Little Lighthouse and the support of the people in the crowd.
That's a powerful story too. So Wesley Mockbee on the Out of Bounds show. What's your official title?
Title is Capital Campaign Manager.
Okay, Capital Campaign Manager for Little Lighthouse. I'm going to give out the address. Okay, LLHMS.org.
That's it.
LLHMS.org. If someone's interested in finding out more.
That's right.
About what all y'all are doing. Just purchased 9.5 acres on the Bozeman Reunion Parkway. That's exciting. And people like Gary Watts, among other supporters and benefactors, doing all kinds of events and fundraisers. This one's Covered Music event at the Clyde Muse Center, February 5th and 6th. Gary said if anybody wants to go, and they reference the Out of Bounds or Bow Bounds show, that they can sit in the balcony free. Well, kudos to you. Y'all done an unbelievable job. It sounds like you got a lot of momentum too.
A lot of momentum.
With what closed last November and where you're headed to.
That's right.
To be able to have over 140 kids eventually as a part of the school.
That's right. It is the good side of having a wait list like that. It shows you that people are hearing about what you're doing.
Right.
And with the events we're having, the community is excited about the opportunity to help these kids.
And you got some unbelievable partners.
Yeah.
So, all right, Wesley Mockbee, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And that's another powerful story on the Out of Bounds show. Little Lighthouse. And you can find out more about Little Lighthouse Central Mississippi at LLHMS.org, a Christian development center for children with special needs. Thank you, Wesley.
Thank you.